Hey, what's up, guys? This is another episode of Off the Post, and I'm your host, DJ Redcap, in a nice warm hat today because it's kind of cold in this apartment. And we're going to be talking a little bit about Chicago. No, a whole lot about Chicago today. So, as you can see, we have one of our special guests back that you all probably remember from last year. And we also have Jen back, who's going to be talking about stuff from this year and years beyond, hopefully. Let's see how Jen's been right now. How you been doing, Jen?
Well, the work I had to do just to log on to the show was pretty much been a representative of my day. So, but that's all in the past. I'm here to talk Red Stars.
All right, sounds good. I'm glad to have you. Maggie, how have you been doing?
I've been good. It's been a quiet off season, especially for the Red Stars, but I'm excited to get back into the NWSL.
Sounds good. Sounds good. And I feel the same way. It's like it's getting it's inches closer. I'm getting more excited. So I think this is going to be a fun season for all of us. So I guess we'll just go right into the topic list. Oh, and if you do have any, I guess, questions you want to ask us, be sure to use the hashtag Jen Hayes. So let's see. We're going to talk more about the supporter group. We're going to talk a little bit about the supporter group. You know, we're going to just ask them like some things they like to do before games, after games, you know, just things that make them different from any other supporter group. So I guess we'll go with you, Maggie. It's all you.
Yeah. So the Chicago Red Stars supporters group is called Chicago Local 134. That name dates back to our original group, which was in the WPS. Refers to section 134 of Toyota Park, which used to be the supporters section. Now we sit in section 118, so I guess our name is no longer accurate, but you know, we like to hold on to that tradition from our original group. Let's see, we are a group of about 40 at our strongest. Typically, we'll have more like 15 to 20 people in the stands on a typical game day. We watch the games at a bar on the north side of Chicago called AJ Hudson's. That's our home bar where we watch a lot of national team games, Red Stars games. We watched even one of the games from the Australian League. Over the off season, we watched. There are a ton of Red Stars in Australia right now, so we watched a versus Perth game over the off season. But I don't know. I was just saying a little earlier that we haven't ever done an away game with the group. So right. One of our goals for this year is really to like get to know some of the other supporters groups and go and travel to an away game in Kansas City. We've promised them forever we're going to go. So I don't know totally how to compare us to other groups, but you know, we tailgate before the game. We like to go out. We used to go out in a bar in Lisle where we used to play after the game. Now we tend to head back into the city and hang out after. But we have drums, we have megaphone. One thing that might set us apart is our tambourine, which is an essential part of our supporters group sound. Yeah, we just do your typical nice. Supporters group, you know, supporting.
Nice, very good. Thank you. And if I come, can I use the tambourine just once?
I mean, I think I can. I think I'm within my rights to promise that. We have two tambourines.
Nice. Oh, snap. I could be second tambourine, not first cheer, second. That's awesome. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
So that's cool. But yeah, I'll definitely try to get out there. I was just talking to her before the show saying I want to get out there to a game because it was a fun experience when I got to see their supporter group and team. Like I said, they're real live supporter group. And they really try to get the fans going too, which I liked a lot about them. So it was good to hear that. But now let's dive a little bit into the team. I know Jen's going to have some fun with this. We're going to talk a little bit about how the team performed last year and any changes we may see right now and how they'll impact the team. So we'll start with you first, Jen.
Last year, I actually thought Chicago was kind of up and down. I think probably the most worrying part was that 3-game stretch about late June, early July, where They kept losing and losing 2-0. It was like not so much they lost; it was by that scoreline. And there were basically still some growing pains because like the Flash, now Courage, Chicago also does have a lot of young players, and you're going to get those growing pains with young players. So it was a little bit up and down. I think for most of the season, it was basically kind of a one-woman show on offense, where a lot of it was basically that one moment of Kristen Press magic, which Kristen Press is a great player, but I think you need more than just Kristen Press stepping up, especially in years where she's going to be gone for a long stretch of games with Olympics, with World Cup, with other national team duties. I think the acquisition of McCaffrey in the middle of last season was a good move for both McCaffrey and Chicago, because it got her out of Boston, where she kind of felt like she was stagnating, and got her onto a team that I think a little bit of a healthier atmosphere. And it was good for Chicago because it gave them another offensive presence, because there were times where they really could have used an extra person other than just relying on Kristen Press. I mean, you have Huerta, who I know everybody likes to talk about how long it was where was basically if Press was on the field, Huerta couldn't score, and once Press was gone. But they seem to have worked that out towards the end of the season, and they had a game against Sky Blue where I felt it was probably the most complete Chicago performance. And the last game against Washington to basically ruin Washington's chances of winning the Shield. I thought that was another really strong performance. It was a little unfortunate that they kind of fell short in the playoffs. They had the winner on their foot. It was just maybe an inch or two lower, and it would have gone in. But I think there were some improvements, even though they didn't finish quite as high as in 2015. I think even though they were kind of up and down, I thought there were some steps forward for a lot of the young players. I think DiBernardo had a great season. Colaprico, a great season. Julie Johnson, maybe not quite as strong as 2015, but I think she had some really good moments. And getting Alyssa Nair gave them a really, really solid goalkeeper, which is one thing I think they could have needed, because with LeBlanc retiring and Dalton, you never know what you were going to get from her. So I think it was a bit of a step forward, even with the ups and downs. And I'm really excited to see what they bring this year. I think they're probably going to be a playoff contender, but we'll get to that when we talk about predictions this year.
Right. And Maggie's, a few of your thoughts on the team last year?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Jen covered most of it. I think Nair was huge for us last year, and I'm so excited to have her again this year. That was one thing the year previous that we really just could not figure out, Dalton or LeBlanc. We were switching back and forth between them every other game, and I think that really destabilized things for the team. And having Nair back there is a lot of fun, and takes the weight off of all of our minds going into a game. So Nair's huge. Up front, when Press is there, we feel good. When Press isn't there, it's always a question who's going to step into that into that role. We have players who can. Jen Hoy has in the past. Huerta has. I'd love to see one of our young forwards develop some more chemistry with Press, hopefully with a less interrupted season coming up. That'll be something we can see happen here.
Nice. Thank you. And now we're going to go on to players to look out for this year. This is always fun. Who, Jen, do you think should we look out for?
Who was that? You kind of cut out.
I said, which players do you think we should look out for in Chicago this year?
Well, after the draft happened, I would have said Vasconcelos because I thought she would have provided some width to the Chicago midfield, which I felt was kind of lacking last year. But then the unfortunate news came out that she is missing the season due to she and her husband expecting a child. So bad for Chicago, but congrats to Michelle and her husband for their expecting a child. That's always it's disappointing from a soccer standpoint, but you can't really get mad for that. As far as who I'm looking for, I mean, other than the usual suspects, I kind of want to see Jen Hoy step up a little bit more this season. I think towards the end of last season, she kind of got lost in the shuffle a little bit, and going down to the W League, having a really solid season with Newcastle. I hope maybe that'll give her the edge to maybe fight for more playing time because she kind of fell off the radar a little bit. So she's one player that I think she needs to have a good season, or she could possibly maybe get the axe after this coming season. A lot of the usual. I mean, there haven't been a lot of changes for Chicago, which it could be a good thing. Keeping continuity, it could also be a bad thing because, as we saw with Seattle this past season, keeping what I'm trying to word this. Not freshening up your squad can sometimes lead to complacency, and I think we saw that with them. That's my biggest concern with Chicago is there going to be that little bit of complacency when you don't have a lot of new faces coming in challenging for spots, and that's something that I hope they can avoid. Basically, a lot of the players that I named in the recap are the ones pretty much to look out for. Although I am curious to see Rory Dames is very high on Morgan Profit, the number 12 draft pick. I'm curious to see if she can maybe get into that midfield, which is kind of established. Maybe get in there and fight for some time and see what she can do. So I would say probably Hoy and Profit are the two names I think might need to have a good season.
All right. And Maggie, who do you think we should look out for?
Yeah, this was actually something that I talked to some other supporters about, and one of the things that we were talking about to look out for this year was our center back position. Sam Johnson has done really well for us there, but Naughton has also shown some really great skills in that position. So the kind of Johnson or Naughton question. And so we'll see which one of them Rory, goes with, or if he switches them in and out, or what his strategy is there. But I think that they'll probably be fighting it out for that center back spot. And then one of the other things, I talked about a little bit earlier is just, there's press, and then there's Hoy, McCaffrey, and Walls, Kara Walls, up front, all good options for forwards. And so we'll see. I agree that McCaffrey brought some great energy at the end of the season last year. I hope that thinking about that complacency, I hope that McCaffrey is still sort of someone who is new enough that she's sort of challenging some of the more established Red Stars players. And she sort of takes things up front. So, I'll be curious to see how those dynamics work.
Nice. Very good. And I guess finally, guys, we're going to talk about how we expect the team to perform this season. I remember last year I chose Chicago to I think that was my team to win it all, and it didn't work out. So I'm going to try again this year, and we'll see if it works out. Hopefully. Jen, where you got?
I mean, it is so hard this year to pick where I think a team's going to land, because I think there are probably 8 teams that could finish anywhere from first to 8.
Right.
Bouncing the ball, they could be way up there, way down there. I think Chicago has the ability to get to another top 4 finish.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to say anywhere between 3rd and 5th, although it could be higher, could be lower. Again, like I said, this league is so close that anywhere between 1st and 8th would not surprise me with them.
Right. And I was just so big on them because I always loved how they played, just how they were set up, and then how they could just control the game. And I was just like, oh, this is just one of my favorite teams to watch in general. And then they were good at it. So it's I just was so high on them last year. Like, oh, they're going to win it all. Just they're good, but was disappointed. And Maggie, where do you have them ranking?
No, I mean, I can probably count on one hand the number of Red Stars home games I've missed since the beginning of the NWSL. So I'm a little bit biased. Just bad. Just that, run the supporters group. So I like take everything with a grain of salt. Definitely like the Red Stars will break your heart. Like it's been a rough couple of years with those, big, exciting playoff games, and then just totally like the bottom falling out from under us during those semifinal matches. But what can I say except the Red Stars are the best team in the NWSL. They have been forever and will be forever. So, that's my opinion.
All right, a quick disclaimer. For about 2 years, the Red Stars were my least favorite team for one reason and one reason only. Melissa Tancredi. I cannot stand her. But now that she's gone, I can have some love for the Red Stars again. And one thing I can't believe we forgot to mention, how about Casey Short breaking onto the national team? I cannot believe we forgot to talk about that. So that's
hometown girl.
Yeah, her and Gilland, those outside backs are just absolutely killer. If they get going with their attack defend, that's pretty much a wrap. But
yeah, Gilland was one of my favorites. Yeah,
he's so fun to watch.
Yeah,
but in the rare event where you can keep them pinned back, I think really limits what Chicago could do, because a lot of it does depend on them getting forward. So
yeah, it does. Yeah.
But still, got to give them a shout out, because those two as a pair were very impressive last season.
Yeah, that's good. You shot that. I just remembered that. Yeah, because like I said, I remember just watching those games and just watching them drive forward. It was just always perfectly, just so fast too. I didn't expect that.
Speed, that's some major speed for both of them. That's fun to watch.
All right, guys. Well, I think that's just about everything, unless anyone else has anything to say. Maggie, you want to wrap up something about getting people to come to games or something cool like that about your supporter group?
Yeah, totally. If anyone's in Chicago or near Chicago, or is ever considering coming to a game, you can get in touch with Chicago Local 134 on Facebook, Twitter. Our handles are always Chicago Local 134, 34@gmail.com. Pretty easy to get in touch with. So if you're ever coming to Chicago for a game, look us up, let us know you're coming. We'd love to see you at a tailgate. We have a map that can show you where exactly to find us. I'll be there. And we love to have people, even if you're coming for one game, we love to have people join us for a party before and during and after. So, yeah.
Nice. All right. Thank you. We appreciate that.
Final thought from me before we sign off. The first 4 seasons of the league, if you look at all the matchups between the teams that have been around for more than one season, Chicago and the Flash / Carolina are the only ones where neither team has been able to win a season series. It has always been split between them. It was Win, loss, draw, win, loss, draw, win, loss, draw, win, loss. I want this year to be the one to break that trend. I want to actually see which team is better because one can never seem to get an edge on the other. So I want this to be the year where that doesn't happen, to see which team is better.
The Red Stars.
The
courage. With the quickness.
The courage. Sorry.
Nice. Well, we'll definitely have to have some Twitter banter between off the Jen Hayes and Chicago when that game comes up. So that'll be fun, guys. Well, all right then. Episode of Off the Post. I'm your host, DJ Redcap, and we will see you back tomorrow with the Spirit. And we always know you guys love to come out on supporter group. So we'll see you guys soon. Let's all start a waving, and we'll start a saying a goodbye. Goodbye. Oops, I missed the button again.